Question. James, we didn't bring it up last week at press conference, but a couple guys we haven't seen through 2 practices, Nolan Rucci and also Denida Sutton. Is that something that long-term might be a situation, or is there anything you can kind of give us on that situation, them not being here for 2 practices?
Nolan Rucci and who?
Nolan Rucci and Denida Sutton.
Yeah, no, they're just not available right now.
Okay.
James, you have some new freshman receivers. Matt Outten looks fairly developed for a freshman. What have you seen from him and Kobe Howard so far this spring?
Yeah, both of them are big physical guys. I mean, Outten's like 212 pounds already. When we watched him in high school, he was a wide receiver, he was a wildcat quarterback, he was a running back. He kind of did it all for him. Punt return, kick return, powerful guy, fast guy, explosive guy. We've seen the same things, but for those very same reasons, he's a little raw as a wide receiver. So it's great that we got him in here early. He's doing really well. We're excited about his future. Kobe, another guy, more developed. He's already 190-something pounds, strong in the weight room, explosive. He's playing wide out, pretty much his whole life. So he's a little bit more, refined in those areas. But both have done a really nice job already for guys that should still be in high school.
Hey James, AC Collins looked really good today. What are your expectations for him? How has he impressed so far through winter workouts and spring practice?
Yeah, AC's done a great job since he's got here. He's gotten better every single semester and every single year. Extremely competitive guy in practice. That has showed up in games as well. We expect him to take another step this year and factor in whether it's as a starter or in the rotation. But he's been a really good, pickup for us. Positive guy, always got a smile on his face, always got great energy, really good with his teammates as well as the coaches. He's fun to be around. He's fun to coach. I'm a big fan.
James, can you explain what Jim is doing at practice? Now, when we've been there, it looks like he's kind of observing, taking a lot of notes, not as much hands-on as we've seen some other assistants.
Who'd you say?
Jim Knowles.
Yeah. Jim is, he's a man of few words. That's in the staff meetings in the morning. That's out here on the field. He's a believer that he's going to spend a ton of time in the meeting room and taking notes down, kind of like I do, and then make the points he needs to make to the coaches, in the meeting rooms. We meet in the mornings and go through the film, and he is thorough and he is detailed to the point where I think he's very, very comfortable on the field letting the coaches coach. But from a big picture perspective, he sees it all. He's got a very good understanding of what he wants it to look like and how it's all supposed to fit together. I've been very impressed with how it's gone so far. Like every time you have tweaks on your offense and defense, there's different responsibilities for different guys that have to take it on. There's different personalities of the coordinators and the position coaches when turnover happens, and all those things seem to be going very, very well. So I've been pleased. The practices have been very competitive. It doesn't feel like offensively is in year 2 and defensively is only a couple weeks in. It's been very competitive. So I've been pleased with how it's going, and we manage it right. Like the way we do it and always have is the offense is limited in what they can do on day one. The defense is also limited on what they can do on day one. It's not about the offense beating the defense. It's about putting the best Penn State team together and creating the best teaching and learning environment. So that's kind of how we do it. It's structured. I got scarred by it as a young coordinator, and it was a free-for-all. You're trying to put base offense in, and you're going against every defense that America's ever seen before. So we don't do it that way. We structure it. I think it's been helpful for everybody. Kind of like a teacher has a teaching progression, right?
How does that impact the way that Dan Connor is used then? Maybe for some of those position coaches, their increased role if Knowles is letting them handle it on the field?
Yeah, it's really not a whole lot different. I mean, Dan was the linebackers coach essentially last year. Maybe it wasn't announced like publicly, but that's how we operated last year. Now I think Tom was drawn to the linebackers a little bit more, so he would hover around that group maybe more than others, but not a whole lot different, to be honest with you.
James, what's it like having Trace on board and then him getting into coaching? What was that process like in your
Yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Trace and his whole family. Trace is a special guy to me. He's a special guy to Penn State, our history and our tradition. So he chased his dream as long as he thought it made sense in the NFL and was able to play at a level that very few people get to play at for a number of years. And we'd been talking in the last couple of years that he was going to probably get into coaching, and whether that was at the NFL level or with us. We had an opportunity open up and presented it to him and had some good discussions on what it would look like, and he's been great. He's been great. So, you look at Danny O'Brien, who played for me and coached for me. Trace McSorley, who played for me and coached for me. And I think that helps with the learning curve because they already know the culture. They already know the expectations. I also think it helps our quarterback room, having somebody that played quarterback at Penn State, because until you've actually sat in that chair, it's different. You guys heard me say it before, the head coach and the quarterback, it's different. So having Trace to be able to mentor that room from his experiences, I think is valuable.
When you look at your running backs room and having two established guys there, what have you seen from the group behind Nick and Katron and then just Stan taking over that room on the practice field? What does that happen like?
Yeah, I think it's been really competitive, right? Everybody knows, we're gonna play 3 running backs. So there's a battle for that third running back. I also think, last year we had 2 guys that we were trying to redshirt if we could. Those guys now obviously been through that. So now not only are they competing to be that third running back, but they're also need to have a huge impact on special teams. They probably could have last year, but again, we were trying to save their red shirt. So now it's competing to be the third back, but it's also competing for a big role on special teams, which they need to. They need to have a bigger role on special teams now that they're able to.
James, with Anthony and Nolan unavailable right now, we've seen Javen getting work at right tackle. We saw him at guard and tackle last year. This year, is it more of a concerted effort at that specific position, and how do you think he's fared so far this spring?
I'm a big Javen Williams fan. It's been awesome since the day he stepped on campus. It was a little bit of a learning curve for him because he went to a high school that maybe threw it 5 times in his 3-year high school career. So passing game was something that we had to work through, but all the cultural things he learned from that program, all they do is win, run the ball. He knows how to run block. He's great in space. Great kid, great attitude. He's got a very, very bright future for us. Right now, this spring, we're predominantly got him at tackle because obviously we have 2 tackles that aren't here right now in terms of practicing. If they were here, then he'd be splitting time between tackle and guard and competing for one of those jobs as well. But it's really good experience and really good opportunity for him. And the way he's going right now, he's going to end up being a part of that competition for the right tackle spot too.
Two more guys. This winter, we saw Elliot Washington go 6 for 6 at cornerback with competitor of the day. What did that look like in terms of seeing that on a daily basis, and how's that carried over into these first couple practices?
Yeah, I think as some of you guys recognize, I've never seen that before. In my 12 years here and 3 years at Vanderbilt, never had a guy win every single one. I tell my coaches all the time, this isn't like elementary school or kindergarten or little league where everybody gets a smiley face and you try to spread the wealth so everybody's happy. Give it to the guy who's earned it. And Elliot came to work every single day. He just continues to get better. He's super explosive, maybe the most explosive guy we have on our team, maybe the most horsepower in terms of speed on our team. He's a big corner at 190 something pounds, has shown flashes. There's a lot of excitement in the building and he's earned it. So I'm proud of him. Coach's kid, great family, he's done it the right way. So I'm proud of him and his hard work and attitude. it's paying dividends for him, and I think it's going to show up in the fall. You just got to keep stacking days.
James, we saw during the perimeter blocking drill, Tyseer did well, many nice play in the red zone, one-on-ones as well. What have you seen from Tyseer Denmark so far this spring? And that he's gonna...
Yeah, I think you guys saw last year flashes when you guys were at practice. That continued kind of all season. Same thing now. It's the big thing is for a lot of these young players, it's consistency. It's physical consistency. It's mental consistency. Those types of things. He's got the ability to help us this year, and we need him to help us this year. It's just we got to be more consistent. So again, I'm proud of him. I think he's got a bright future. But nobody cares he's a redshirt freshman. It's time now. We need him to take that next step, and he is more than capable of being a big time player in this league as a redshirt freshman.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.